Dortmund are very much eyeing up Ten Hag. They're a big fan, and with Ten Hag's growing frustration with the Glazers, the board, summer recruitment, the team, and the issues ongoing at United, could he make a shock move to Dortmund? Because it has come out from some pretty good sources. Also, lots of reports coming out about Man United's big transfer clear out. The annual United lose a game, then we get loads of reports about clear out news, which doesn't ever happen. But there's a few interesting things being mentioned about January, the latest on the takeover, an update on Luke Shaw and Maguire's injury, and a little bit of news on Rasmus Højlund that I think you guys need to listen to. So please hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new, and let's get into the video. So it was said, wild rumour in Germany, Ten Hag could be the new coach of Dortmund. Remember, Sammer, the advisor of Dortmund, has employed Ten Hag before at Bayern. Let's see what happens now. It's a rumour coming out in Germany. Now, Jan was spot on with everything Jadon Sancho. Every time Jan would say something, and then a few hours later, Fabrizio Romano would say the exact same thing. When it comes to Dortmund news, Jan is on it. He is the guy when it comes to Dortmund news. He was spot on with everything Bellingham, Sancho. Like, he said things, and then Romano said things. This guy is spot on, but I don't see anything happening. As spot on as this guy is, he mentioned the word rumours in Germany that Ten Hag could be the new manager of Dortmund. Rumours in Germany. He's just saying he's hearing rumours. I'm sure there's an interest of Dortmund. They're watching Ten Hag's future, but I don't see Ten Hag leaving United and going to Dortmund, and he's not obviously said that. But I think this is one to keep an eye on, and if Ten Hag is sacked, maybe he goes to Dortmund, because there's a lot of reports and rumours that Ten Hag will be sacked soon. So maybe that's the next club he goes to. But Jan is a very credible source, and I think that's an interesting thing to touch upon. Now, less credible sources have said this. They've said Man United want to make a decision on the manager before the January transfer window opens, and Lopetegui is very well placed to become the next manager of United. He wants to continue in England and is highly valued by the leaders of United, and that United are also considering Zidane, Potter, De Zerbi, and Lopetegui. We did actually consider Lopetegui before, but we picked Ten Hag over him. It was Lopetegui, someone else, Ten Hag. I think it was Lopetegui, whoever the Spain manager was at the time, Enrique. It was Lopetegui, Enrique, Ten Hag, and Poch, and then we narrowed it down to Ten Hag and Poch. Anyway, not important. But Lopetegui left Wolves because he fell out with the board because of their lack of ambition. So if you're going to United and the Glazers, that's going to blow up. Zinedine Zidane is rejected this about 100 times. It's between Potter and De Zerbi. De Zerbi has got a bit of an injury crisis at Brighton. They're struggling a bit. Potter's gone to a big club and struggled. None of those names make me go, From what I know, Potter is the one they like the most. But this is coming from Revelo, who isn't the best source of information. I don't think they're going to make a decision about Ten Hag soon, even if we get battered at Liverpool, because what the Athletic have said, what reliable sources have said, is we've got an interim CEO. Ratcliffe deal wasn't ratified, so United don't want to make any decisions. The Athletic have said this. The Athletic are tier one source of information. They're briefed by the club. All the credible sources saying United aren't going to make a decision until the takeover is done, but INEOS are looking into managers. So INEOS could be done in 3 weeks. You never know, but they are looking into managers. But I think if something was going to happen, it would be on the back end of January. It was said by the Muppeteers, I don't think anyone at United has the appetite or the sway to make any sort of change of manager right now. I've mentioned before, but it's my understanding that INEOS have not wanted to make a mid-season change and give Ten Hag the season to assess. Things can obviously get too bad where it's necessary, but that's the state of things. And I think it will be a situation where INEOS give Ten Hag till the end of the season, kind of how Bohi gave, obviously, Tuchel a little bit of time. And then when he saw enough, he thought, yep, I want to change this. And I think that would be very much the situation with INEOS. I don't think, despite reports, despite rumours, I think Ten Hag will go end of the summer, in the summer. Maybe stays beyond the summer if we see some changes towards the end of the season when main players come back from injury. If it goes really bad, maybe he's sat before, but I don't want an interim. And those replacements aren't particularly fulfilling. Continuing on as well, can Man United even afford to sack Ten Hag? That's an interesting thing, because United definitely need to sell some players if they want to spend. Now, this is the interesting thing. You've got James Ducker of The Telegraph coming out and saying Man United are not planning on much transfer activity in terms of incomings or outgoings in January. And then you've got Rob Dawson saying, an hour later, Man United are expecting multiple departures from Ten Hag's first team squad in January transfer window. So you've got two sources of information contradicting themselves. I know Ten Hag wants to sell a lot of players to fund some moves in January. I know that's what Ten Hag wants to do. I know that's what those ambitious people at United hope to do. But I think the reality is nothing really will happen in January. I think the reality is James Ducker. I think the hope is Rob Dawson. I don't think either source is wrong. I think there is a hope to get rid of a lot of big players in January, and Ten Hag wants that, and probably ambitious people at the club want that. But I think the reality is that what James Ducker's saying is probably not much will happen because the focus will be on the takeover. I think the Glazers are delaying the takeover so it goes into the January transfer window and takes up their time instead of this, takes the time instead of having to deal with the transfer window. It was said by Rob Dawson, with no European football in the new year and only the Premier League and FA Cup left to play for, Ten Hag is willing to whittle down his squad. It says Donny van der Beek is available for transfer in January, as is Sancho. There's interest from Spain and Germany in Donny, while Man United would prefer a permanent deal for him. There's a lot of loan offers going around. I think loan might be what we have to do. And it was also said that United are expecting interest in Rafa Varane and Casemiro, although much will depend on whether the pair want to leave. I said this before, I don't mind getting rid of Casemiro and Varane in the summer if big offers come in because they're big name players on big wages that are old. But we can't be doing this thing where we sell Ronaldo, we sell De Gea, we sell Varane, we sell Casemiro, but we don't sell Lindelof, but we don't sell McTominay, but we don't sell Martial, but we don't sell Donny. I've said this in my live stream earlier. We've got to sell the players that aren't good enough and then sell the big name players that aren't part of the long-term project. Varane and Casemiro are not part of the long-term project, but we can use another year and a half out of Varane and Casemiro easily. They're elite players. McTominay and Lindelof aren't part of the long-term project, and they're not good enough to be here for the next year and a half. Get rid of those, instead of the big names as well. It was also said Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund are monitoring Mason Greenwood. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico have all watched him in action at various points. Don't think he's good enough for any of those teams, but to be honest, part of me wants Greenwood to have a great loan spell at Getafe so we can get a bit of money for him, because I think his days at United are over. So yeah. Anyway, continuing on. Manchester United's Champions League exit will cost them £28 million and pile on pressure on Ten Hag. I think that's interesting news coming out. I reckon because we're out of the Champions League, the Glazers are sort of reassessing their thoughts on Ten Hag, because we've probably lost between 28 to 40 million pounds of profit, which is dividends money. So they won't be happy at all, but also means it affects our budget. Great. It was said that Luke Shaw had a little niggle, but it's not serious. He'll be out for 1 to 2 weeks. And Maguire's had a scan. We're waiting on results. So Luke Shaw's only going to miss a week or two. Not too bad. Missing the Anfield game is a shame, but he's only going to miss a few games. And there remains hope that Ratcliffe's 25 investment in United could be announced before Christmas, despite serious delays by Dawson. So anyway, hoping Maguire's back soon with Luke Shaw, just because Maguire and Varane played well together, and I just sat there and I think, why is he benched Varane for 6 weeks? You watched that Varane performance. Varane's great. Varane's better than Lindelof. I can't believe Varane was benched for Lindelof. He was benched for Shaw at centre-back. He was benched for Evans. Varane is great. I'm sorry, he's great. Don't care about passing angles. He's great. Luke Shaw should be back soon. Hopefully Maguire won't be out for too long, because Maguire's actually been pretty good. Premier League Player of the Month and gets injured. When Maguire's crap, never gets injured. When Maguire's good, get injured. You know that season when we played Dean Henderson and we came second and we got to the Europa League final? That was Maguire's best period for United. That was his best period for United. He got injured. He wasn't able to play in the Europa League final. As soon as he's in form for United and playing well, he gets injured. When he's playing crap, never got injured. It feels like that. Anyway, I want to talk about Højlund. Højlund's been getting a lot of stick. Højlund's been doing the media rounds lately. And I was working on a video talking about United's build-up issues and why it's not Højlund's fault he's not scoring and how we're not creating chances for him. And then I looked into some statistics. And if you look at Arsenal, at least sort of each top club's wingers and stuff, I put Newcastle in over Chelsea because I don't think we ever compete with Chelsea at the moment. I probably should have put Villa in, to be honest. But Arsenal got Saka, who's made 39 chances this season. Newcastle got Trippier, that's made 45. City have got Alvarez, who's made 38. And Foden and Silva have made 26. And Foden and Silva haven't had crazy minutes either. Kulusevski's made 36 chances. Porro's made 27. Liverpool have Trent and Salah that made 36 and 34. At United, obviously, you've got Bruno that's made 45 chances. But I'm talking about wide players, not central players. Although some of those players have played central. Delos 17 is leading, Anthony 8, Garnacho 10, Rashford 12. You can see the difference between our wingers and fullbacks and creativity compared to the big sides. And obviously some of our wingers like Garnacho and Anthony have played less minutes. So I kind of looked into key passes per game. And it's basically Anthony averages 1.2 key passes a game. Garnacho averages 1.3 key passes a game. Rashford averages 0.9 key passes a game. Delos averages 1.4 key passes a game. But if you actually look at it, Trent averages 2.4 chances a game. Salah averages 2.6 chances a game. Saka averages 2.5 chances a game. Kulusevski averages 2.7 chances a game. when you look at it like that, you realise that actually all the other clubs' wingers are being more creative. Now, a big part of that is down to sort of the poor build-up and the structure by Ten Hag restricting attackers, but also we just don't have the level in quality in attackers to actually feed Højlund's service. Højlund's not been having service, and he's been getting a lot of stick lately. And yes, you know, he's 20, he's raw, he's not as good as Kane and those players. But you have to realise he doesn't get little service. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is from Data MB, which is my favourite place to look at data. And I don't know if you can see it, but in that bottom corner, you might see it says right at the bottom in the S. McTominay. Right at the bottom. In the top is Pedri, and then near the top is Bruno Fernandes. This is key passes per 90 and expected assists per 90. McTominay is at 0-0 for key passes and expected assists, yet he's playing as the number 10, and Bruno Fernandes is the one dropping into the second phase to help him build up, who's our most creative player. This is on Ten Hag. We are not feeding Højlund because we're dropping Bruno deeper now, who would feed Højlund, and because our fullbacks aren't doing great. We're also not feeding Højlund because we're not good enough in build-up. This is on Ten Hag. This needs to be fixed because we are not getting the best out of Højlund. You've signed Mount, you've signed Amrabat, you've signed Onana. We're not playing football that suits the strengths of Mount, Amrabat, Onana, Højlund, Martinez. Like, obviously, we've not had certain players available, but it needs to sort out. Anyway, please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.